The Obamas have done it again as they have produced this documentary titled The Eyes of Ghana, which centers around Ghana's premier, Kwame Nkrumah's personal cinematographer in the person of Chris Hesse, Reverend Chris Hesse. So we'll be delving into that story. And also, secondly, if you were aware, I mean, if you've been paying attention what's happening over the weekend, one Ghanaian actress, producer, and filmmaker caused the arrest of the Fast TV CEO over an issue with regards to one of her films. And last but not the least, Paramount is almost getting into transitioning into being taken over by Skydance, and David Ellison, the CEO of Skydance, is already lining up his executives that will be running the Paramount empire. So we'll be talking about all these and more right here on the Film Mandate. My name is Papa Otu. Stay tuned. So welcome back to the Film Mandate, where I bring to you movie news, reviews, and reactions, both from the African front and the international scene. So I'm live on TikTok. I was trying to get myself live on YouTube as well, but unfortunately it didn't go through. But wherever you are watching me from, whether live or later, just tune in. You can share your comments or your thoughts or any questions whatsoever that you have for us with regards to this platform. And just as I said, this is a film, movie review discussion platform that where we talk about movies from all sectors of the world. So we'd like to delve right into the very first story. And it's a story I'm excited about because personally, I am a Ghanaian, and to receive such news is so exciting. So for those of us who are Ghanaians or even Africans in general, we sit down and watch films about, political great statesmen who are great, and they make stories about them with very deep insight, sometimes from Hollywood and all that. Well, there is a project that was being worked on, but this time around from not about a main political figurehead, but it is about Kwame Nkrumah's personal cinematographer in the person of Reverend Chris Hesse. And this documentary is being produced by Barack Obama and the wife. And they've done it again because they've been doing productions ever since he left office. He's actually found his foray into filmmaking. And together with a couple of other filmmakers, they have embarked on finding out more about the cinematographer, and particularly the stock footage he covered during the time when Kwame Nkrumah was alive. So we'll be delving into the very first story, and this article publishes what they want to do. So I'll be reading just a bit of it. And the article publishing deadline says that Ben Proudfoot and Moses Wayo team with the Obamas for The Eyes of Ghana, a film about a 93-year-old documentarian's archive of lost films from Africa's liberation era. And this is written by Diana Loderhouse. And in the short is Reverend Chris Hesse. We'll be talking more about him, what he's done over the years. And so let's get on with it. So two-time Oscar-winning filmmaker Ben Proudfoot has teamed with Moses Wayo and Barack and Michelle Obama for The Eyes of Ghana, a new documentary film that spotlights Chris Hesse, the 93-year-old forgotten personal cinematographer of revolutionary African leader Kwame Nkrumah. The film, which has already wrapped and is in the final stages of post-production, marks Proudfoot's first feature-length documentary in a decade. The Eyes of Ghana details the rise and fall of Kwame Nkrumah, a towering figure of African history who inspired the liberation of the continent in the 1950s and 1960s after rising to serve as Ghana's first president. A political theorist and prominent African leader, Nkrumah was even featured on the cover of Time magazine in 1953. He was later toppled by a military coup in 1966, which was allegedly backed by the CIA after he was cast as a dictator. As a result, the films made during Nkrumah's time were ordered to be banned. Though his name is all but erased in the US, Nkrumah remains an iconic and revered figure across much of Africa. So Hesse serves as the film's unsung cinematic hero, along with his protege, filmmaker and producer Anita Afonu. Wow. Well, I'll talk about Anita Afonu later. The documentary unveils a huge archive of surviving celluloid films from Africa's liberation era in the 20th century, which were long thought to be destroyed but had been quietly safeguarded by Hesse for more than 60 years. Wow, that's a bravo effort. That's really good. For the first time, this hidden trove is unearthed to tell the untold story of the African continent. Canadian filmmaker Proudfoot first met Hesse when the latter was 90 years old after Ghanaian journalist Justice Beidou, who is co-producer of The Eyes of Ghana, introduced the two filmmakers while Proudfoot was in Ghana shooting a film for UNICEF. Hesse told Proudfoot about his secret archive of more than 1,000 films and asked Proudfoot for his help to digitize them. Originally, imagining a short documentary about Hesse, Proudfoot consulted his friend Wayo, the Ugandan filmmaker behind Bobby Wine, the People's President, who convinced him to turn the film into a feature. Similarly to Hesse, Wayo had experience as a personal cameraman to a revolutionary political leader, and after surviving gunshot to his face and attempts on his life while making Bobby Wine, he has since taken political asylum in the US. Proudfoot is renowned for celebrating little-known heroes of history, and has won 2 Best Documentary Short Films Oscars for his films, The Last Repair Shop and The Queen of Basketball. His short film, Concerto is a Conversation, was nominated for an Academy Award in 2021. He recently teamed up with the OBAMAS for short doc The Turnaround, which premiered at the Telluride Film Festival last year. The Eyes of Ghana is produced by Breakwater Studios, and Nana Adjoa Frempong, Afonu Wayo, and Brandon Somahalda, alongside Higher Ground's Ethan Lewis and Vinnie Malhotra. Barack and Michelle Obama are executive producers on the project. Yeah, so that is quite an exciting read. And yeah, so for this story in particular, I'm excited about it because of the what it's doing is shedding light on a forgotten history about Ghana's independence and Africa's, renaissance to a new era of independence from colonial rule. And just as the article said, with regards to Nkrumah being toppled by a military coup leader in the country, they were ordered, the cinematographer or whoever was in charge was ordered that they should ban the archival footages that have been recorded over the years. But due to the unsung heroic efforts of Reverend Chris Hesse, unbeknownst to those military leaders, he's kept all these footages, and I'm excited that these has been kept, because regardless of whether you share the views of any certain president or not, those footages is part of our history and it need not be destroyed or erased. Regardless of whether the person you agree with a type of leadership or not, all these history that we go through as Africans or as a people like Ghana, these histories needs to be preserved and be told so that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. So I am excited to hear that Reverend Chris Hesse and his team have preserved this stockpile of footage about our history. And finally, we have former President Obama and the wife shedding light onto this history that was thought to have been long destroyed. And so I'm excited in particular to have heard this news. And he's been assisted by Anita Afonu. Anita Afonu was my mate in the university at NAFTI. Now it's called Unicoms. And so I'm excited. She's a documentary filmmaker and a very wonderful documentary filmmaker at that. So I'm excited that she is part of this entire project. And seeing the names that have come together to make this happen, it's exciting to have the Obamas who have themselves been involved in a lot of productions, particularly even feature films, not just generic ones where, I mean, I wouldn't say generic, but documentaries, which the Obamas do it quite often. Um, they've done a feature film for Netflix titled, they did actually, titled Leave the World Behind, which starred Shahala Ali. And so it is exciting to see the fact that they are interested in this particular part of our history. And I think I'm not too surprised to that because during the time of his presidency, he also visited Ghana, and I'm sure was told the real story on the ground as perhaps against what he might have already known in America. So I'm excited about this, and to have Reverend Chris Hesse be be at the be in the very presence of greatness of Kwame Nkrumah and and archived or recorded, filmed everything that was unfolding that would become history today. It is exciting to have that, and my hope is that from the standpoint of a Ghanaian, I'm hoping that we would tap all the knowledge and information necessary from him to save them for future purposes in terms of whether we would want to make it into a feature film in itself, a live action feature film, not just the documentary as we see the Obamas and the filmmakers are doing. But I'm interested in that aspect because when you actually check the filmography of Reverend Chris Hesse, you then discover that he's done more than just what we think, he's done. As a matter of fact, he also actually ended up being the cinematographer for successive leaders that took over after Nkrumah. So after Nkrumah, between the years of 1956 to 1966, he also ended up being the cinematographer for the following head of states. So J.A. Ankara, who took over, and then A.A. Afrifa, K.A. Buzia, I.K. Champon, Fred Akufu, Hilary Man, and even J.J. Rowling. So he actually has become the receptacle of history, Ghana's history, and indeed he should even be more cherished as an unsung hero, considering the fact that he didn't destroy any of the. Well, I don't know whether he didn't destroy any, but I'm sure he ensured that, regardless of even his life being at at the peril of death, was determined to keep all these materials, which is an essential part of our history. So I'm excited about this project that is being done, particularly with Proud Foods, who he himself is an Oscar Award winner to helm this particular project, and also Wayo for also convincing him to extend this into a major feature film. So if you even observed carefully the article, there is Reverend Chris Hesse in your shot in the vault which harbors the archival footage that he himself, as a cinematographer, captured over the years. And its numbers about 6,000, if I'm not mistaken. So that is indeed one history that ought to be really, really treasured. And I'm glad that he appealed to the filmmaker to have them digitized. The only sad part is that why would we, I'm speaking as a Ghanaian now, why would we want to have someone, an indigent, someone who was there and witnessed history unfold, ask a foreigner to actually digitize our work when we should be the ones digitizing it, regardless of our political divide or our leanings, because this is an essential part of our history and we need it documented and digitized. So I'm excited, even though unfortunately for us, we had to have this treasure of a man, Reverend Chris Hesse, um, actually ask someone else to, a foreigner, to digitize it, which I don't hold any brief against. I think he should, because there's no Ghanaian there offering to get this done, because I don't think we know, we are, I don't think we are really understand what we have. Maybe we do, and I'm glad that him and a couple of team have got it done. But I think regardless of the proud foot helping to digitize it or not, I think it's about time that our own people in the country lend whatever support the Obamas would need, and Proudfoot and Bwayo and Chris Hesse, Anita Fonu, Nanajwa Frimpong, and all the team would need to get these things digitized and kept in the country. It is our history. It is our history, and regardless of whether we have different opinions about our leaders or not, they are our leaders. And Kwame Nkrumah helped bring liberty together, yes, with other people, but he became the founding father of these nations together with other individuals. So I'm excited about this project. I don't know about you. Let me know your thoughts on this particular development with regards to ex-President Obama and the wife, and together with Proudfoot, embarking on digitizing Ghana's history so that finally we can actually see the entirety of history as he captured it when he was right there in front of greatness and history unfolding. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and yeah, to be much appreciated. Yeah. And also, so we'll be moving to a second story, still in Ghana here, and it's quite exciting. You know, a couple of weeks ago, or perhaps months ago, there were development of Nigerian filmmakers complaining bitterly about how some Ghanaian TV stations are showing their films without the requisite permissions. And over the years, it looks like not just one or two, but a number of filmmakers have complained as to how Ghanaian film TV stations are showing their films on television without their requisite permission. Some of them even complained that some of the films, immediately it dropped, the very week it dropped, they had it showing on their television. And amongst a number of them, including our own, is Ibrahim, Juliet Ibrahim, Omoni Oboli of Nigeria, and Bimbo Ademoye of Nigeria. So not just them, but a whole host of other filmmakers have complained bitterly about what the Ghanaian filmmakers have been, TV stations have been doing. And over the weekend, another interesting story developed, and I'm sure by now you've heard it. And this is in the person of Xandy Kamel. Xandy Kamel. And so I want to read this article so that we get to know the details of it. And it reads that this is published in the Ghana Web, and it says that the Xandy Kamel arrests Fast TV CEO over unauthorized screening of a new movie. Ghanaian actress and producer Zandria Dede Kamel, popularly known as Xandy Kamel, has taken swift legal action against Accra-based Fast TV following the unauthorized broadcast of her latest movie, Unseen Beauty, just days after its official release. In a press statement posted on her Instagram page on Thursday, July 31st, 2025, Xandy revealed that the CEO of Fast TV, Mr. Obed Mauli Mifuchu, I hope I pronounced the name right, has been arrested by officers from the Doko police station over alleged copyright infringement. Updates on copyright infringement with the help of the copyright monitoring team and the support of Mr. Socrates Safo, we've made some arrests in connection with the ongoing copyright infringement case, she wrote in the caption. According to the statement, the actress filed a formal complaint in collaboration with the Ghana Copyright Office, with influential industry figure Mr. Socrates Safo also lending his support to the case. The Ghana Police Service has since launched an investigation into the incident. Xandy Kamel's move comes after she publicly called out Fast TV in a viral video for illegally airing her movie without permission. The film, Unseen Beauty, is currently available exclusively on her official YouTube channel, Xandy Kamel's TV. Investigations are currently underway and will keep you posted as more details emerge, she assured her fans. The arrest marks a bold stand by the actress in a a bold stand. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the arrest marks a bold stand by the actress in a growing effort to fight piracy and copyright violations within Ghana's creative industry sector that has long struggled with the illegal distribution of intellectual property. Xandy's decisive response has been met with support from fans and fellow creatives alike, who see her action as a much-needed step toward protecting the rights of filmmakers and content creators in Ghana. As the case develops, the public awaits further updates from both the Ghana Police Service and Xandy Kamel's team. So yeah. So this is the development so far. So it is sad that it has to resort to this because, I mean, being in the media space, I'm sure every TV station manager or production manager or owner understands that every production is governed by intellectual property rights. And therefore, if you want to show it or screen it on your television network or channel, you need a consent. If you are not going to buy it, you need to seek the consent to air it, because at the end of the day, there are costs incurred in the production of these features. And I watched a video of Xandy Kamel by Zion Felix, where she was interviewed, and she said that she made the effort, having received a letter from the lawyer, to present it to the FAST team, and unfortunately they didn't adhere to her calling for them to desist and perhaps take the necessary steps as detailed in the letter. Honestly, I don't have any information as to the details in the letter, but regardless, it looks like because they didn't respond to her with certain comments that they made, which I can't prove, but it's a comment that most often than not, it looks like it runs through all these particular issues that have happened, with the saying that they are giving them the much needed promotion they need. And it is quite funny because how do you give promotion to an individual when the individual is not even aware? And besides that, this is not the best way to give promotion to a filmmaker, by taking their film and showing it on television without their consent. So it is indeed not the right way to go about it. And as a result of them not responding properly to her and her lawyer, she caused the arrest of the Fast TV CEO. And I say I don't wish this to happen to any other individual, but she is within her right to ensure that her intellectual property is protected. And there are laws in this country that governs the intellectual property rights of artists, regardless of whether it's be television, series, film, documentary, books, music, regardless of whichever artist intellectual property it is, there are laws governing it. And I'm glad that this has happened. I'm not happy that it has ended someone in jail, but I'm sure he will be bailed and whatever misunderstanding will be sorted out. But regardless, filmmakers spend lots of money to get their work done. Not just even the money, but their sweat, their blood to get these films done. And so, if you would want to promote them, do it the right way. I know a lot of them are open to receive, good offers, even if it's not money, they would be willing to cooperate and get this done because obviously the TV stations are also there for the filmmakers if they want to promote their films. So if you would want to help promote them, which I think most of them don't even need it nowadays because of the advent of social media, you ought to seek their consent. You ought to sit down with them, talk to them that maybe I can't afford to pay you for the rights to air it on television. Can we come to a different agreement to get that done? And a lot of TV stations have done that over the years. Some of them will not have the money to pay you upfront in terms of the rights to show it on their television stations. But at best, what they do is that they would give you airtime for adverts if you want to use it for that purposes in exchange for the rights to screen it on their television station. So there are ways and manner you can go about it. The fact that someone's intellectual property exists on social media platform doesn't guarantee you the opportunity to show it on your television stations. It is not right. And this kind of habit must be stopped. It is not the best. In collaborating to get this done, all of us end up have making sure that we build a proper ecosystem for all of us. Because I've always said, if the film industry thrives very well, it will also benefit the television industry and any other industry. As a matter of fact, the film industry or the audiovisual film industry borrows from every aspect of our lives. So in the same vein that it borrows from every aspect of our lives, if it does well, it will also benefit every other aspect of our lives, including the television stations. So I'm sad I had to resort to that, but I'm hoping that this would be a caution for every television stations that is engaging in that, and I'm hoping that the media watch team that monitors this thing will be up and doing, and they should be more proactive. It shouldn't even be the filmmaker seeking for help before that is done. Even they should be done with or without the knowledge of the filmmakers so that the system will be sanitized of this behavior. So I hope they'll find a way of resolving it because both filmmakers and television stations need each other in some way or form. But regardless of that, the attitude of TV stations managers, some of the managers must stop with regards to they making the excuse of showing the film as a promotional platform. It is not right. You shouldn't do that. You should seek the permission of the IP holders first, and they grant you a letter or a document to prove that point. Then you can go ahead. But we should stop doing that. It is not the best. And perhaps this will be a cautionary tale for every other TV stations, and they will desist from that. So let me know what you think with regards to this particular development. Do you think personally, I think that what Xandy did was in her right and it's the right thing to do. But I also think that the TV stations ought to desist. They shouldn't wait for some of these things to come to them before they stop. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think a lot more filmmakers should embark on this particular initiative to ensure that when TV stations are showing their films without a requisite permission, they are brought to law? Or you even think that the copyright media watch team should even be more up and doing and be putting a stop to it with regards to this attitude? So regardless of this, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you are live watching me, you can drop your comments and I'll read them right here on this platform. And you can also share the link if you want more people to join in as we proceed. So Moving on from this very story to my last but not the least one, a lot of major production studios in the United States of America always end up being, taken over or bought by other ventures or initiatives. You have Disney buying a number of these big, named properties like 20th Century Fox, which now is 20th Century without the Fox name, which now has become a Disney company, and so many others have done the same. Well, Skydance, one of the producing partners of Paramount, is almost taking over Paramount. Actually, I think at this very stage, you could literally say that Skydance has completely bought Paramount, and the the CEO of Skydance has already outlined the top executives that will be running the Paramount studio. So I like to read an article published in the Hollywood Reporter, and it says that David Ellison sets his team. These are the people who will run the new Paramount: George Cheeks, Cindy Holland, Josh Greenstein, Dana Goldberg will all get new roles, joining Jeff Shell and Ellison in the C-suite. Yeah, so that is David Ellison, the founder and CEO of Skydance Media. So David Ellison has set the C-suite Paramount Global, with Skydance deal to acquire the media company set to close later this week. The mogul has officially named his senior leadership team at the company, the people who will run the new Paramount, which will have 3 segments: studios, direct to consumer, and TV media. I'm thrilled to introduce our new executive leadership team, backed by deep industry experience, proven track records, and a shared commitment to excellence. This world-class team is uniquely equipped to rise to the occasion and deliver on our bold vision for a new Paramount. Ellison said in a statement, each member has chosen to align with our goals and with the intention to drive transformation. Together, we will foster an environment where creative and technical talent collaborate seamlessly, marrying leading technologies with powerful storytelling and artistic vision to unlock Paramount's full potential and help shape the future of our industry. As previously announced, former NBC Universal CEO Jeff Shell will be president of the new Paramount. But joining him will be Andy Gordon, who had been leading Redbird Capital's Los Angeles office, who will become COO of the company. Redbird, which is providing financial capital to support Skydance deal, has also most recently employed Shell. As expected, current Paramount co-CEO George Cheeks, who has also been leading the CBS business, will remain with the company as chair of TV media, adding oversight of the company's cable TV channels. Cindy Holland, the former Netflix scripted TV chief, will lead new Paramount streaming businesses, including Paramount Plus and Pluto. Holland has been a Skydance advisor since last year. Jim Sterner will join from Amazon Entertainment to lead human resources. Stephanie Kyoko McKinnon will be general counsel, and Melissa Zuckerman will be chief communications officer. Andrew Warren will continue as interim CFO of the company. Skydance chief content officer Dana Goldberg and former Sony Pictures executive Josh Greenstein will lead the new Paramount studio as co-chairs. So yeah, I will leave it here. So it is indeed exciting that finally the bid to acquire the Paramount studio has gone through. And listen, I think Paramount, from the news that I've been hearing over the weeks, months, and even possibly years, have not been doing well in terms of their revenue, not just from the box office revenue, but in regards to all the franchises, the IP they do have. So it was of no surprise that for them to remain, in existence and be working as a studio, they need a necessary injection of capital, which in this case happens to be an acquisition. So Skydance, who always has partnered with them to get this done, has now finally acquired one of Hollywood's major studio, and that is Paramount. And I think they are the best because having worked with them over the years and understand the mechanism of how Paramount work, I'm sure David Ellison knew how best he can turn the fortunes of Paramount around. Besides, he has a studio of his own, and I'm sure he thinks this will be a good vehicle to keep on promoting his films. And for those who may not know, Skydance actually is one conglomerate of a studio with major IPs under its belt. You're talking about the G.I. Joe films that have come over the years, Mission Impossible films. So that is some heavyweight properties he does have there. And he also has, the Skydance animation films as well. So he also is also into animations, and then the Star Trek franchise. So they come with a lot of roster of films, so they know what they are about. The Uncharted films and a whole lot. I mean, I'll leave the link in the description below. So for them acquiring this property, I think it is something that is perhaps very dear to them, and they would want to see it still running well to support what they've been doing at Skydance. And now him being the CEO, obviously he's one. I mean, his companies are literally one and same now. Even though I'm sure he will let Skydance remain as a separate entity from Paramount, which is a major Hollywood studio. So it is quite interesting how Hollywood is turning out nowadays. We had AT&T come up acquire Warner Brothers, and because it didn't work out well, we had Discovery coming to acquire Warner Brothers, and then when they merged together, now in recent times, David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, have now, it was Warner Brothers Discovery, has now split the company into two again, where now we have Warner Brothers and Discovery as a separate entity. However, they still have a parent company oversight over everything. So these companies or these studios are studios that have brought us some of our memorable films that we've watched over the years, and I'm happy that at least Skydance is keeping Paramount also, solvent. I mean, still working because we need them to be in existence to keep on entertaining us as they've done over the years, even some of the studios over a century. So I'm happy about this deal of Skydance, acquiring such property and looking at what they've offered in terms of their films and the success of them thereof. I'm sure it is the good move for them to do. And my hope is that over the years, let's see how they are going to perform in terms of their box office revenue, how some of their films perform, particularly with the Star Trek franchise, which is a major IP, almost comparatively to that of Star Wars. But it looks like Star Wars have done much better with regards to the reboots they did over a couple of years ago. So it is quite interesting to see all these developments happening in Hollywood. And finally, at least Paramount to get a needed injection of capital to, keep them still working and being one of the major 5 studios that has remained in existence since over a century ago. So yeah, this sums up my entire stories for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed these topics that I brought to you. And currently, let me check. I do not have any messages from the live chat, yes, at the moment. So yeah, I'll bring this particular episode to a close. And pardon me if you've been hearing some noise in the background. It's because the rain is, it's raining outside quite heavily. So pardon me for that. But if you didn't, then, well, that's excellent because there's a mechanism that helps suppress background noise, but I don't know whether it's been able to do that entirely. So thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Film Mandates. I'm really excited for you joining me, and I'll be coming your way with another exciting episode tomorrow, same time on the Film Mandates right here. My name is Papa Otu, and I'll see you soon.